Hello, you wonderful humans. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for another Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. Hi, I'm Drew. I'm the owner here at 3D Wellness. I'm also a clinician in his 17th year of being a clinician. And every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we go live to get you wrong chords and answers to the questions that you have about health. I'm joined by the incomparable Two Boots Lori LeClaire.
And we appreciate you tuning in.
So get those questions roll in. We'll get you some answers.
La, 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 la.
Thanks for being here.
That was fun.
If this is your first Wednesday weekly workshop, we are sincerely glad you're here. Here's how these go. All week long, we collect questions from our clients when we see them here in clinic. But you can also chat in those questions live on YouTube. We got a big push right now. We used to stream live onto Instagram also until Instagram changed their policy, stating that you have to have 1,000 followers in order to go live on Instagram. So please share, recommend us to your friends, your family, your coworkers. It'll mean the world to us to be able to go back to doing Instagram live. But for now, chat in those questions on YouTube. Lori will read them off to me. We'll get you some answers. I like to use the dry erase board to explain things. We lovingly refer to the dry erase board as Mr. Doodles. If you do not want to chat in your question because you don't want your question associated with your username, no big deal. You can call in your question right now. We always leave our contact info up on the board so that you feel like you can actually ask your question. You can reach out to us. We are highly accessible. We'll take your question live on the air. While those questions roll in, I always like to talk about things that happened this week in clinic. This is by no means everything that happened this week in clinic. But we saw some big time allergy relief. A lot of people talk about fall allergies. It's something I covered in our Autumn Challenges workshop. It's posted on YouTube right now. There's different types of allergies. There's environmental allergies. There's indoor allergies, there's outdoor allergies. Whatever the type of allergy you're dealing with, there are natural ways to support your body in managing them better without drowsiness or without speeding up your heart rate or without overly drying out things like sinuses. Can't tell you how many clients over the years have said, hey, I know the allergy drug works because my sinuses dry out so bad that I get a bloody nose from it. That just feels like trading one problem for another. I'd rather just get rid of the problems. We've had lots of success with allergy relief this last week. Sleep came up. There's two big things I talk about whenever I talk about sleep. There is falling asleep and there is staying asleep. This came up for a client who watched our, Tonics for Travel? Tonics for Travel, not Travel
Yes.
for Tonics. That would be an entirely different workshop. Tonics for Travel workshop, where we were talking about 5 of the most common issues I see when I travel, and then some simple solutions to help us resolve them. And one of them is resetting your internal clock when you fly into different time zones. So this client said, hey, you know what? I fall asleep just fine, but my problem is staying asleep. I tried your Tonics for Travel solution and it didn't help. Well, that's because the Tonics for Travel solution is all about falling asleep, not staying asleep. So we talk about 2 different things that we do. One set of solutions is all about actually getting to sleep. The other is to actually stay asleep. Some people have trouble with both also. If you're having trouble with sleep, let us know. And this one I want to talk about a little bit because a surprising number of people had this come up this week. Sudden emotional overwhelm. It's one thing if you're going to watch The Land Before Time or Bambi or some movie that you know just kind of hits you, okay? But what we're talking about is seemingly no input, no stimulus that caused the body to feel overwhelmed, but we got the tears, we got the shallow breathing, we got a little bit of panic going on sometimes, even confusion. I heard clients say all these things to me this week. I really think it's worth talking about these things right now. to let you know that there's nothing wrong with being emotional, so long as our emotions are not controlling us. So I want to jump into that while we let some questions roll in the chat. All right. Would you peel off a layer of that
Sure
one?
will.
Thank you. Mom. Chatting it up. All right, we're going with green. All right, emotions. Man, are they complex. All sorts of reasons that we can be emotional. What I really want to hone in on is the sudden overwhelm when we're talking about emotions. Otherwise, if we were just going to talk about emotions generally, we'd be here for 4 or 5 hours. But that sudden overwhelm. Throughout my career, I've seen a couple of things contribute to that. I've seen heart health be a big factor. Obviously, our heart physically has a lot to do with us doing well, but also we talk about it being the emotional center of the body. I've seen a lot of clients have physical issues with their heart and at the same time having emotional issues. I've seen a lot of adrenal issues contribute. Remember, our adrenal glands are, thank you, our adrenal glands are responsible for how we respond to stress in a big way. So we're always going to have stress in our life. We got to keep that in mind. What we want to do is make sure that the response we're having to stress is a healthy one, that our response to stress is not an additional stressor. And last but not least, the brain. Because that is where we are computing so many different aspects of emotion. And there's a really simple thing I want to talk about brain first. If our brain is malnourished or if it's missing critical nutrients for its function, it's way easier to be overwhelmed. So when we're talking about brain health, lots of nutrients needed for function. I got a couple of favorites that I want to throw out there for you. The first is for the part of the brain that processes emotions. One of our old favorites here, it's called Orchex. A lot of people know Orchex. The idea with taking Orchex is that it's not going to shut down your emotions. It's not going to turn them off. It's not going to stop you from feeling things. You're still going to feel all the things. But something that happens to a lot of people, and you might resonate with this, is that when we have a heightened level of emotion, there's a death in the family, we get fired from a job, we're moving into a new house, we have a baby at home, whatever the thing is, some kind of stressor that hits us at the emotional level. The part of our brain that processes how to get through that stress needs gas in its tank. And if it runs out of fuel, then it is so much more difficult for our brain to deal with those emotions. And it often leaves us feeling exhausted, just completely depleted. What Orchex does beautifully is it's fuel for the part of the brain that processes those emotions. So we're still going to have the emotions, but instead of our brain fatiguing, resulting in the rest of us fatiguing, we actually have the ability to work through those emotions and deal with them, feel them, handle them, and move on from them. Orchex is beautiful for that. For most people, it's between 2 and 6 a day, depending upon what's going on with you emotionally. Obviously, more for higher levels of emotional stress. I want to talk about the heart next. All sorts of nutrients needed for this, but this is also for energy. Similar to what I mentioned with Orchex, it can be exhausting to be emotional. What I also know is that a lot of people, when they are exhausted, it causes them to be emotional. So that's like a weird chicken versus the egg kind of debate. Am I tired because I'm emotional, or am I emotional because I am tired? One of my favorite things to do for the heart is a supplement called Cataplex B Core. This actually helps the way the electricity your heart makes move around in the correct pattern. If you didn't know that your heart makes electricity, that's your new rabbit hole to dive down and check into. Really fascinating stuff that we have an electrical generator inside of our chests. Pretty wild. Cataplex B Core has a lot of different B vitamins, as the name would have you believe. It also helps the way that the body moves the electricity the heart creates around. It also has quite a few nutrients for our brain as well. So for a lot of people who are very physically fatigued when they get emotional, and they find the more physical fatigue they have, the more prone they are to sudden emotional overwhelm. Typically they got heart stuff going on. And Cataplex B Core is a wonderful thing. For most people, it's 4 a day. I check in with a bunch of other clinicians all over the country. I'm really fortunate to be part of a pretty big network of clinicians, and we all share ideas. We recognize that we are not each other's competition, that we are all the same team. I am not threatened by the acupuncturist that I love to ask questions to, or the chiropractor that I chatted up just this morning. They're not my competition. They're my teammate. They play a different role than I do. They were talking about Cataplex B Core at 4 a day. Initially, when we were told about this supplement, we were told 2 a day would do the trick. Now, more and more of us are finding that 4 a day really does the trick. And last but not least, I want to talk about adrenals. They have a lot to do with how our body gets inflamed. Is inflamed 1M or 2?
2.
Thank
Oh,
you.
inflamed like that? I think
Yeah.
it's 1.
Okay, thank you. Inflamed. So, if we have a pain condition, if we have that achy joint that doesn't ever seem to go away, if we have something come up in our body and we start to feel that inflammation, it can be incredibly draining. It can lead us to those heightened emotional states where at the drop of a hat, we're very emotional. That typically correlates with what is going on with the adrenal glands. One of my favorite things to do for adrenal glands is a supplement called Cataplex C. Most people need somewhere between 3 and 6 of them a day. For the record, Cataplex C is also wonderful for bone health and for dental health. It's big time adrenal nourishment. And for those people, when the emotional overwhelm hits them because they've been dealing with a pain condition for a long time or inflammation in their body for a long time, it's also taxing. It's very draining. The nutrients inside of Cataplex C actually help your body regulate inflammation. That's a really powerful support then. It's not habit forming. It doesn't damage you. You can do it repeatedly. There's plenty of things pharmaceutically you can find to reduce inflammation, but a lot of them, if you use them on an ongoing basis, you're going to start to have side effects or even damage different tissues inside of your body. The idea with Cataplex C is you can help reduce inflammation without any side effects. Beautiful thing. So, if your emotions are leading you to feel this sudden overwhelm, and it's brain stuff, Orchex might be the best thing for you. It's going to help you process those emotions without fatiguing so quickly. If it's your heart, it might be because you are physically tired. This happened for a client this last week. Loved one in the family passed away. They had to help move things out of the apartment because rent was due and the lease was up and all that kind of stuff. So they had to get it together, box stuff up, and carry things downstairs. And heart support. And if you're inflamed or dealing with a pain condition, it might be your adrenals you need to nourish up. And that's where that Cataplex C comes into play. Again, it's totally normal. It's even healthy to be emotional, so long as those emotions are not in control of you. There you have it. On a fresh eraser. Thank you, Two Boots. Oh, that's so much better.
Yes, okay.
Smooth.
I think that's the last strip of that, so we'll have to.
It's a good thing we ordered more. Very good. Any questions roll in when I was chanting up emotions?
No.
Okay.
No.
We had a good question roll in via email. and it was all about uterine health. How often do we get to talk about this, Two Boots?
Not often enough.
Right, well said. 51% of the earth has a uterus, or at least was born with one. We should be talking about it more often.
Yeah.
Uterus, I wanted to hear about what nutrients are really good for it. So one of the biggest deals for uterine health, or let me give you a list of big deals. Vitamin E from foods is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Magnesium. Zinc. Absolutely critical. Got to have zinc for the uterus. A little bit of copper, but nothing crazy. So I want to talk about some really simple ways to get that stuff into your body. The client said, look, if I don't want to do a ton of stuff, how can I find a way to get some nourishment for my uterus? Young woman looking to have kids later on, even if it's a person who's done having kids but just wants to make sure their uterus stays healthy, here's some good ideas for you. The first supplement I would recommend is called 4-Til B12. This is a hidden gem in the standard process lineup. This is food-sourced vitamin E. Why do I keep saying food-sourced vitamin E? Because isolated vitamin E, when they strip down vitamin E and they tell you vitamin E is only made out of 8 pieces and you only need 4 of them, that's false. Vitamin E is more like a pie if you think about it. And I'm not going to be able to draw enough lines to do this, but it is a pie that is sliced into 24 different slices. I'm going to run out of real estate here. Even more, but 24 slices of pie.
Wow.
Yeah, I was right. And typically, if we get a vitamin E supplement, it is lacking the majority of those slices of pie. Vitamin E is so important because when you get all the pieces of vitamin E together, it's actually quite a few of the precursors or the things you need in order to make different sex hormones like estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. A lot of people get put on those hormones. And what I find again and again in clinic is just that their body was lacking that whole food vitamin E source. When we start to provide that, all of a sudden they go, hey, those hormonal symptoms I was having are going away. 4-Til B12. It's been around for like 80 years. It should be far more used, far more popular. For magnesium, I really like Easy Mag by Standard Process. This is also food-sourced magnesium. The type of magnesium it is called threonate. Now, you can go online and you can find all sorts of magnesium threonate supplements, but this is the only one that I know of that is made out of food. Standard Process found very specific types of buckwheat that naturally yield high levels of magnesium, and they started to grow them in their perfect soil and their perfect farm right here in Wisconsin. And the outcome of that is Easy Mag. You get food source magnesium, and it's that threonate source of magnesium. It's also very good for your brain. It also has just a speck of iron in it, which cycling women, a little bit of iron can go a long way. There's concerns about iron toxicity when we talk about hair analysis, but when we're getting iron from a food source like Easy Mag, I am not concerned about a small amount of iron from food sources. And the next one, it's a double whammy. I want to get the zinc and the copper at the same time. I'm going to go with Livoplex. As the name implies, it's for the liver. It gives us our zinc. It gives us our copper. It helps our liver out. Keep in mind, your liver does make some hormones. What it does more than making hormones is it helps your body balance hormone levels. So your thyroid is making hormones, and your pituitary gland in your brain is, and your ovaries or your testes are, your adrenals, your pancreas, all these body parts are making hormones. When the blood carrying those hormones goes through your liver says, oh, too much of that one in there. I'm going to pull that back a little bit. Oh, not enough of this one. I'm going to send some more of that back out into circulation. For so many of my clients, especially cycling women or women just entering menopause, what they need more than anything is to make sure that their liver is being nourished in such a way so that their body can balance those hormone levels. And that takes workload off of the uterus. It makes it easier for the uterus to do its day-to-day tasks because those hormone levels are getting balanced by the system designed to balance those levels. There's one more thing, it's very unique. It's called Utrophin PMG. It's one of our lovely, lovely PMG supplements from Standard Process. Remember, whenever you see PMG after a supplement, at the end of the name of the supplement, PMG means it is specific anti-inflammatory and nourishment for whatever organ is listed in front of it. In this case, uterus. If it was thyrotrophin PMG, that would be thyroid. If it was drenotrophin PMG, that would be adrenal glands. Whenever you see PMG, that means it's specific organ support. One of the best things I do for clients who are not ready to have kids yet but are planning on having kids in the future is put the mom-to-be on Utrophin to make sure that we are feeding that uterus what it needs to function optimally. I'm also a big fan of the Fortil B12 along with that. But you also need some magnesium for the uterus and some zinc and some copper, and you can get those really easily. Maybe this is a good question to go over. Part of the reason I like supplements so much is because you can take 2 apples from the same branch of the same tree, and they will have different amounts of nutrients within them, different levels of vitamin C, different amounts of carbohydrates, etc., etc. The reason I like to use supplements is because I know every single tablet and every single bottle of Fortil B12 or Easy Mag or Utrophin has exactly the same amount of nutrients as the next tablet or the next capsule coming out of the bottle. And that way, when I give that to my clients, I know that every day, bare minimum, they're getting these levels of these nutrients to support their body. It's not trying to replace food. It's trying to make up for what is missing from our modern food supply.
Mm-hmm. Very well said.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I like to use food whenever I can. It's just not always the right way to go. Yeah, please. By the way, everybody, we got butts and seats again. Fire away.
So Zymex and Fortil both use Talancia. What makes them different?
Ooh, I like that a lot. I like it so much, I'm going to write it in orange. All right, so we're talking about 2 different supplements from Standard Process. We got Fortil B12 in the orange corner. They're actually both going to be in the orange corner. Then you said Zymex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're somewhat similar.
Yeah, they have some similar ingredients.
Right. Both have spleen too?
They,
Or am I thinking of a different one? That's Talancia and spleen.
yeah, I think you're thinking of something else.
But they both
No
the
big
main
deal.
ingredient is Talancia.
Yeah.
Spanish one.
Spanish moss is the ingredient we're talking about.
And they're both very different functions.
Yeah.
As supplements.
Absolutely. So both of these supplements contain Spanish moss. It's commonly referred to as Tillandsia. If you've ever been in Georgia or Florida and you saw the thin little strands hanging from all the trees, that's Spanish moss. It's incredibly nourishing. It's very rich in vitamin E. Fortil B12, this is all about the vitamin E support. It's got antioxidants in it. Zymex is designed to be an antifungal. Why do I call it an antifungal? Because it supports the pH of the intestines, and when the pH of our tummy is ideal, it can destroy fungus. Fungus is like a polar bear. I don't recommend fighting a polar bear in a cold region. It's kind of their thing to be there. Instead, what we would do is use Zymex because that makes the intestines like a desert, and now that polar bear fungus can show up. Polar bears aren't designed to survive in the desert. So now our body actually has a chance to win that fight against the fungus. Why do they both have those things? In the case of Fortil B12, it's just because it's a vitamin E source. Okay? In the case of Zymex, it is processed differently than Fortil, right? So what they do basically is they intentionally age it. In 10, there we go. And when they do that, it changes the action of the Spanish moss. There's two different garlic products I like to use. One is from Standard Process and one is from MediHerb. Standard Process one is very young, fresh garlic. It's way more involved in the immune system and less so heart support. The aged garlic from MediHerb has much more to do with heart health and less to do with the immune system. It's kind of a similar thing here. Because it is intentionally aged, what it does in Zymex is more related to antifungal than the 4-til-B12. That's more getting you the vitamin E and the antioxidants. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
A lot of the different Standard Process supplements have common ingredients, and sometimes it's as simple as, is it fresh or is it aged? Beets come up all the time in different Standard Process supplements. Beta food, AF beta food, Livoplex, Beta Col, Red Food, all these different supplements. Comes up in there again and again. Buckwheat comes up all the time. It's in Cyruta, it's in Cataplex C, it's in Catalin, it's in a bunch of different things. Same thing with Tillandsia. I think it's even in Arginex. It's in all sorts of different stuff. The difference is, or sometimes the difference is just how old is it? Good question. Oh, right on. See, this is why we love butts and seats.
Mm-hmm.
We get those questions rolling.
B6 is water soluble, yeah?
I believe so.
What would make it build up in the body? Is it from synthetic vitamins, but shouldn't you still excrete it?
That's a very good question.
Or if you take too much, you get like functional neuropathy.
There's all sorts of stuff that can happen with that.
Symptoms, I should say.
Yeah. So with B vitamins, there's two groups. You can break them down into water soluble or alcohol soluble. And the easiest way to describe the difference is, what does your body have to do to put them to use, and then excrete them when it's done using them, or if it didn't need to use them. Now with water-soluble things, it's really easy to get them into solution and flush them out of the system, or it should be. I see a huge influence on the water-soluble B vitamins on the potassium level on the hair analysis. On the hair tissue mineral analysis. Whenever you see me write HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis, hair analysis. Potassium. This is the mineral that is responsible for cellular exits. What do I mean by that? Every cell in our body has things inside of it. Think of it like a Ziploc bag that's containing different items. If we need to remove something from that Ziploc bag, potassium is what opens up the top of it and allows things to exit. So for a bunch of people, water-soluble vitamins go into their body, they find their way into the cell, but then they lack potassium to actually allow it to ever exit the cell. That makes sense?
Yeah, so if you low or high on the hair test.
It could go either way. You can have high potassium, because then that means the body's having trouble using potassium. Or you can have low potassium, meaning the body is in a state of deficiency and just doesn't have the materials needed. On a hair tissue mineral analysis, I'm okay with potassium being anywhere from 7 all the way up to 12. That whole range. 9 or 10 is pretty much perfect. It can be as low as 7, as high as 12. And then we still see that the cell's exit ramps are still functional. That comes up for a bunch of stuff. There are people that I've met throughout my career who are taking chelators or different detoxing substances, and they're really effective products. The label looks good. The company is a reputable company. The label claims are accurate. What that means, what's supposed to be in the capsule actually is inside of the capsule. But after they take those products for months and months and months, they still have their symptoms. We look at their hair analysis, and they go, oh, I thought I detoxed mercury. But their potassium level was still low. and that was inhibiting the body's ability to remove different things. Good question. If you have low potassium, the way to fix it is not eating more bananas. You actually need to examine the salt that you are using. Sodium intake has a huge influence on potassium levels on a hair tissue mineral analysis.
And the right kind of salt.
Yeah,
Correct?
that can make a world of difference.
Mhm.
We are very picky about our salt here.
Yes, we are.
Nothing but the best.
Yeah.
Any questions, Roland?
I don't see any questions rolling in.
Okay. We miss you, Instagram Live.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram Live really helped facilitate those questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did any bubble up for you?
Not a question so much as maybe
Yeah.
a positive comment and how
Yeah.
much I am loving the recent MAHA goals being presented
Oh, make America
and
healthy.
starting to eliminate some of the toxins in our food. And
Sure.
I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I appreciate, you can have whatever political affiliation you want. The following comments are not going to be politically affiliated. There are things I've been talking about with clients for the last 17 years that I look back on. And if we go back 17 years or 15 years, or for some of these things, even 10 years, the idea of looking at them like a problem was so foreign. The idea of researching these things was deemed so unnecessary. Meanwhile, I was shouting from the rooftops like, your antiperspirant is a problem. This type of fluoride in your toothpaste is a problem. Not fluoride. There's fluoride from the earth. There's chemical runoff from making things like batteries fluoride.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole Make America Healthy Again movement, it's bringing those words into the living rooms of people who never even knew to consider that.
Exactly.
And I really appreciate that.
Just unawareness.
Yeah. You don't have to like RFK Jr. to appreciate that people are talking about things like food dyes and fluoride, things that are potentially harmful based on their source. Not all of them, not all types of fluoride or all types of food coloring are bad, but just people having a conversation about that stuff is absolutely a step in the correct direction, because we should be able to have an open dialogue about the things we're encouraged to put inside of our bodies.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you wonderful humans. The rules are, if there aren't questions rolling in, we call it a night. We appreciate the butts and seats. Everybody who watches these after the fact, thank you so much. Please tell everybody you know about us on Instagram. We really want to hit that 1,000 followers mark. If you haven't been following our Instagram, we are so dedicated to getting 1,000 followers on there. The other day I was juggling cans of pumpkin just to get some views, okay? Like, we are serious about getting to those 1,000 followers.
How far are you oh, you got less, and that helps.
Yeah, I think we have about 700 and change left. Pretty good ways to go. Yeah. I'm still excited about it. What I want to see happen are YouTube subscriptions pretty steadily go up.
Mm-hmm.
Our Instagram had plateaued for a while. Now they're starting to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a neck and neck race to see who can get to 1,000 first. That's just me. Just because I enjoy doing all this stuff. I'm going to grab Indy my guitar. I'm going to play out using my looper pedal. You can always call us. You can always email us. You can always let us know what questions are coming to mind. We love talking to people about this stuff. And keep in mind, the initial consultations here are always free. I want to hear what's going on with you without you feeling pressured to do anything with me about it. I want to make sure that we are a fit for each other before you start spending money and time here. All right, Indy. Should I play that same wrong chord again?
I thought it was kind of brilliant.
Little,
mix it up every now and then.
Yeah, you got to keep it fresh, right?
Yeah.
That's all I was doing. We'll see you next week.